Okay, hi everyone. Today I just want to give you a word of encouragement out of Numbers 13 and 14. I'm not going to read the entire part. I'll just quickly tell you the story and what the Lord has ministered to me through His word. Okay, so the story in Numbers 13 and 14 is about the Israelites, when God took them out of Egypt and he gave them the promise of the land of Canaan, the land that was flowing with milk and honey. And so when you can go read the entire story yourself, but so when they got to the land, Moses and Aaron chose 12 people of the tribes to go scout out the land of Canaan, and so these 12 men they went into the land, and when they were there for 40 days, and when they came back, then they gave their reports to Moses and to Aaron, and then I'll just read to you what the reports were. Let me just see. I'm going to read to you from Numbers 13, verse. Where can I start reading? Okay. From verse 27, they reported to Moses, "We went into the land where you sent us. Indeed, it is flowing with milk and honey, and here is some of its fruit. However, the people living in the land are strong, and the cities are large and fortified. We also saw the descendants of Anak there," and Anak was like giants. "The Amalekites are living in the land of the Negev. The Hittites, Jebusites and Amorites live in the hill country, and the Canaanites live by the sea and along the Jordan." Then Caleb quieted the people in the presence of Moses. Now Caleb and Joshua was the two of the 12 men that went to scout out the land of Canaan. So then Caleb quieted the people in the presence of Moses and said, "We must go up and take possession of the land, because we can certainly conquer it." But the men who had gone up with him responded, "We can't go up against the people because they are stronger than we are." So they gave a negative report to the Israelites about the land they had scouted. "The land we passed through to explore is one that devours its inhabitants, and all the people we saw in it are men of great size. We even saw the Nephilim there." The offspring of Anak were descended from the Nephilim. "To ourselves we seemed like grasshoppers, and we must have seemed the same to them." So then Israel refused to enter Canaan. So then the whole community broke into loud cries, and the people wept that night. All the Israelites complained about Moses and Aaron, and the whole community told him, "If only we had died in the land of Egypt, or if only we had died in this wilderness. Why is the Lord bringing us into this land to die by the sword? Our wives and little children will become plunder. Wouldn't it be better for us to go back to Egypt?" So they said to one another, "Let's appoint a leader and go back to Egypt." Then Moses and Aaron fell down with their faces to the ground in front of the whole assembly of the Israelite community. Joshua, son of Nun, and Caleb, son of Jephunneh, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, were among those who scouted out the land, tore their clothes, and said to the entire Israelite community, "The land we passed through and explored is an extremely good land. If the Lord is pleased with us, he will bring us into this land, a land flowing with milk and honey, and give it to us. Only don't rebel against the Lord. And don't be afraid of the people of the land, for we will devour them. The protection has been removed from them, and the Lord is with us. Don't be afraid of them." While the whole community threatened to stone them, the glory of the Lord appeared to all the Israelites at the tent of meeting. So then you can just read further how God then said to the people of Israel, to Moses and Aaron, that they will never enter the promised land, and only Joshua and Caleb and then their descendants, of course, and then the descendants of the other Israelites, they will also go in, but the Israelites themselves, this first generation that left Egypt, they will not see the land, and that included Moses. He also didn't end up going into the land of Canaan. And so what God spoke to me through this story just reminded me about this today. Sure, like we all go through times, when you start following the Lord and His word, and you're just like decide you go all in, it's all Him or nothing. Sometimes not sometimes, He usually asks you to leave certain things behind, like Egypt. And then we take that leap of faith and we say, yes, Lord, and we leave everything behind and we follow Him. And then we think, oh no, everything's going to be great. We're just following the Lord. Everything's going to be good. And then where do we find ourselves? We find ourselves in the wilderness. And then we start complaining and we start thinking, did I really hear from God? Did I hear wrong? Did I understand wrong? Did He really say that I have to leave Egypt, that I have to leave that job, I have to leave that relationship, I have to leave that place, I have to leave that country, whatever it is that He asked of you? We start doubting, and I've been going through that now for quite some time. This has been a very, very long journey, and we question God and we moan just like the Israelites did, and the journey becomes tough, like a very tough journey. And in the meantime, God has given us a promise. He has given us a promised land. A promise of a promised land. He said, follow me and leave Egypt behind, because where I'm taking you, I'm doing a new thing. I'm giving you a new thing because I have a purpose for you and I have a purpose for your life. And the closer we get to that promised land, the more afraid we become. It is such a strange thing. We like sometimes we're just in this wilderness and we're not seeing this promised land, and we are just so afraid, thinking we made a mistake. Oh my goodness, I made a big mistake, I'm thinking. But today God just came and encouraged me, and He just reminded me of this word, and He said to me, the giants in your land, there's giants in your promised land, and do not be afraid. Because yes, I am afraid of the things that God has spoken to me about, because when I look, I don't see it. I just see the giants, and one of the giants is my how can I say, my little faith. That I do not trust God enough, like thinking, sometimes asking God, just like the Israelites, God, did you really leave me, like took me out of Egypt to bring me into this wilderness to die? Because the promise just seems so far. It just seems so far, and it just seems like it's never going to come. It's just not there. And then we start seeing a little bit of this promised land. We have stepped into it, but it just seems like there's no breakthrough. And the giant sometimes in the land is our own lack of faith, our own lack of trust in the one who promised us this very promised land. And just when I read this, where the Israelites said, in Numbers 13 verse, where is it, verse at the end of verse 33, to ourselves we seemed like grasshoppers, and we must have seemed the same to them. Whew. Sometimes that is how we look at ourselves, thinking, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough for this promise. I'm not strong enough. I'm not talented enough. I do not have enough experience. But God says, I have already given this land into your hands. All you have to do is have faith, trust me, and step into your promised land, because I am with you. He's the God who's always with you. He says, I shall never leave you nor forsake you. And he says, and I am man that I shall lie. No, what you heard of God is the truth. He did give you that promise when he took you out of Egypt into the wilderness on your way to the promised land. He did give you that promise, and you did hear him right. So just have faith and trust him, and stop seeing yourself as a grasshopper. The giants in the land has already been won. It's already been won by Jesus dying on the cross and resurrecting from the grave to give us eternal life. So those giants has already been defeated. All you have to do is step into your trust and faith in the one who has promised you. The one thing also that what God showed me through this word is 10 of the 12 men that went to go and scout out this land, 10 of them came back with a bad report. Sometimes those 10 people are the people around us, the ones we love, the ones who care, the ones who loves and cares us, but they give us a bad report. They say, shouldn't you just go get a job? Shouldn't you rather just do this? But I'm telling you, listen to Caleb, listen to Joshua. God has already given that land into your hands. Trust what God has said. Listen to the people who also hears from God, who says, yes, I'm supporting you. I am with you. That is what God told you. Just keep on. Do not turn back to Egypt. Do not cry about Egypt. Do not go back. Just have faith. Know that the promised land is yours. God just so encouraged me today through this word. We will not turn back. We will not be afraid of the giants. We are not grasshoppers. We are the sons and the daughters of the living God, the God who created the heavens and the earth. We belong to Jesus, King of Kings, the Son of God, and we will not turn back. This is just encouragement, not just for me, but for everyone who's holding onto a promise, whatever it is, and you're in the wilderness. Do not cry about Egypt, because God has promised you a land of milk, flowing with milk and honey. Do not give up. Do not give up. Do not listen. Do not listen to the naysayers. Do not listen to the people who brings back the bad report. Do not listen. Listen to God and trust him alone. Trust his promise. Trust his word. He says, there where I sent my word forth, it shall not return back to me empty, and it shall prosper there where I have sent it. God is not a man that he shall lie. Just trust him. Keep on. Do not cry about Egypt, and look forward to the promised land, and fight those giants with the word that God has given you. Remember that your weapon is the word of God. That is your sword. That is what you fight with. That is what you fight with, the word that God has given you. And every time the enemy uses people around you or circumstances and point and shoot with fiery I can't remember the name to you, just lift up your shield of faith. Lift up your shield of faith and trust God. He has given you a promise. Just trust him. Just hold on. Just keep on going. And you will enter the promised land just like Joshua and Caleb did. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. You can share this word with anybody you know that needs encouragement. And thank you. I will speak to you soon. Bye.